I just want to again thank all of you for taking the time out and coming to Sacramento today. And I just can't emphasize enough how important your involvement is. As was mentioned, I started my involvement in political issues and social justice issues actually when I was a kid. I was in middle school. And during those years when I was growing up, there was so much social change. It was about 100 years ago. It was, during that time of a lot of activity in the 60s where there was change happening all over the country and all over the world. And as a young person, I kind of grew up believing that I had the power to change the world just through my involvement. But if you look historically at every social movement, and it always has taken a social movement for our folks, both African Americans, Latinos, folks of color, to have brought about change that have led to us being successful. It has taken a social movement, whether you're talking about the farm workers or MECHA, or organizations like HOPE or NALEJO, or on the African American side, if you're talking about the NAACP, or a lot of various activist organizations. It's always been a broad social movement that has brought about real fundamental change. And if you look back historically at those social movements, young people have always been at the lead, are playing a very, very important role. I mean, look what happened in November. I mean, who was absolutely key to electing our president? It was the involvement of millions of young people who, for the first time, even some of them not old enough to vote, but were interested in getting their parents involved and their community involved, and it always takes that kind of involvement. And so when I think of organizations like HOPE, I think of that type of work being done with a whole new generation of Latinas to get them involved and to get them to understand the power that you have in this room. If you look at the demographics in California, we know how significant the Latino population is. And organizing Latinos, organizing Latinas, having us at the forefront of a movement for social change, I think that's what really is going to change some of the statistics that we all need to change in our communities. If you look at health disparities, whether you're talking about African Americans or Latinos, we always are suffering the most. If you look at unemployment, any of those statistics, we look at our numbers in school versus in prison, all of that is why we need your involvement so that you can help to continue the change. I grew up also believing, being too young to participate in the civil rights movement, but growing up and watching people make an incredible sacrifice, and then me being able to benefit from that sacrifice by participating in programs like EOP or affirmative action programs that provided the opening, that opened up access for me, I always felt that it was my responsibility then, as I succeeded throughout life, that I was supposed to bring others along. And I hope that you have that same kind of perspective, that not only will this activity seal your involvement, but that you'll also be looking behind you to see who you can bring along. I know that one of HOPE's goals is to register at least 5 Latinas in your local community. And I can just tell you that if you can get folks registered before May 19th, we have a very important election coming up on May 19th, and I'm concerned that a lot of people might not realize the significance of this election. But if those propositions go down for the lottery or for us taking the money away, which might seem a little counterintuitive, but it is the reserve fund, taking the money away in Prop 1D and 1E, then we're going to have a much bigger hole in the budget. And when there's a hole in the budget, who do you think gets cut? It's programs that impact our communities that are the programs that are impacted. So I just can't tell you how important your participation is. I also wanted to mention, when I think about some of the women I know, I think of a college professor who worked with job training for at-risk youth, an attorney who instead of a corporate job decided to represent striking farm workers, and a woman who enrolled in college at the age of 37 and got involved helping mentor young Latinas. I think of a 911 dispatcher who, on top of all of the demands of her job, fought to have LAPD include bilingual dispatchers on every shift. These were ordinary women who took the extraordinary step of getting involved. They stood up, they spoke up, and when they needed, they shook things up. And you will probably meet them before the day is over. One is Assemblymember Lori Saldana, the college professor, the attorney, Ana Caballero. Today's her birthday, so if you see her, you wish her happy birthday. Assemblymember Mary Salas, and Assemblymember Norma Torres, who was the 911 dispatcher. So all of these women made a difference, and I have no doubt, as I look out in this room, that every single woman will be making a difference, and not only making a difference, but playing a leading role in our community. And I hope, you know, there's very strict term limits across the street, so we need many of you to fill those seats over there in the years coming up. Thank you very much.